What am I saying again?
This is MPW,
MPW.
the podcast
with your host, Xylo Aria.
Cool.
A podcast about music production
For the everyday musician,
where we learn from experienced studio engineers and each other.
Rick Barker has spent over 30 years in the music industry and is best known as the manager who launched the career of Taylor Swift and consulted Sony Music and American Idol. He's spent the last 12 years helping indie artists build their own sustainable music careers through creating courses and resources to help artists build, grow, and monetize a fan base. Hello, Rick. How are you doing? It's lovely to have you on the podcast today.
It's very nice to be here. Thank you.
How's your day been so far?
I woke up. Somebody didn't. So my day's fantastic.
Okay.
As you see from the sign beside me, no excuses. Someone didn't wake up today. So I always look at it as anytime I woke up, I won.
I love that. I love that. We got to take every win. So that's a great way to start. So I am keen to learn from you about record deals, Rick, and the good and the bad and all of that. But before we get into that, I would love to learn a little bit more about where did things start in your career for you and how did you get to where you are today?
So for me, it all started with radio. That was my passion. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't have the discipline of an artist. I'm a very impatient person. So sitting down and learning, doing the same thing over and over and over again didn't excite me, but music always excited me. So radio was my passion. I did that for 15 years. And then I was asked to move over to the label side. I had created the first ever radio tour where artists actually got paid, which put me on the radar of labels. One of those labels being Big Machine Records, which at the time they had a 16-year-old little girl named Taylor Swift, and they were send her to me to teach her radio. When I went from DJ to record promoter to Taylor Swift manager, and then I left Taylor in 2008 and consulted labels, consulted Sony Music, was the social media mentor for American Idol, had some other artists that were signed to labels. And then I realized that the label route wasn't the right route for everyone, but the opportunity to promote your music and be your own music business and not be under the same restrictions as artists that were signed to labels was something that excited me. So I set out to teach independent artists how to be their own record label and their own publishing company and how to do the marketing and all the different departments that the label provided services to just a select few. I was able to teach tens of thousands of very talented independent artists around the world how to be able to do those same things for themselves.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And this is something that I feel like I have many conversations on, which people feel like when they're just waiting for a deal and then that will solve everything else. But like you said, there are so many routes now that you can take and so many resources that are available to everyone.
Yeah, and one of the things I learned with most artists is that they're very impatient. And if you're an impatient person, the label is the last place that you want to be because you are an employee. You are told when you can release music. You were told when you can do certain things. And most creatives that I know, as much as they think they want that, they realize once they get it that, wow, sometimes I have to be careful what I ask for because this isn't anything like I thought it would be.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And I'm keen to crack into some of those things and why people might end up in that situation with you. But can you tell me one event in your life that if you could, you would change?
I would have asked for help sooner. I spent so much time trying to figure a lot of things out myself. One, because I thought I had to, and then this crazy little thing called the internet came along, which allowed me to learn at my own speed when I wanted to learn. But I was so consumed with trying to figure it out on my own. I would have asked for help sooner. I would have sought out coaching. I would have bought mentorship. I would have paid to spend time with the people that have gone before me to find out what I should be focusing my attention on, what I shouldn't be focusing my attention on, where I should be investing my money, where I shouldn't be investing my money. And I think that a lot of artists and people in general make that mistake is they think they have to figure it out on their own. They think that, well, it doesn't mean as much if I got help. I feel more prideful in doing it myself. And I felt that was me. And then once I realized that you get help to speed up the process. You can't speed up success. There is no magic formula or no secret, but there are secrets to learning. There are secrets to not having to make the same mistakes that you made. It's like if I come to you and say, listen, what did you do in this situation? What would you recommend I do? There is nothing wrong with seeking help.
I love that. And definitely, I feel like there is this mentality to not do that. And for me personally, I think I didn't value my own time. Like I felt like, oh, if I've paid someone to do this, I can save that money and try and work it out on my own without realizing it's going to take me 10 times as long. And I've actually devalued my own time in, trying to cut that down and learn from someone else and reduce that time. So I think so many different ways or reasons why people make the choice to not seek help. But I think that's great advice there to try and reduce that time and learn from people.
When did you put a value on your time? At what stage in your career? Because I'm going to share a story that will make you laugh, but I'm curious on your end. When did you realize that I'm going to invest either time or money? Money we can replenish, but time we cannot replenish. When did you experience that?
Well, it had to be probably a year and a half into, or maybe 2 years into starting my business, which is music production for women. And I got to a point where I was doing absolutely everything and I just couldn't keep up with the demands and what needed to be done. And then it took me a long time to realize that I don't have to do everything. And there are some things that I can just outsource or get some help from. And that changed absolutely everything. And even investing in my own learning, again, that came through business, which is realizing I don't know that much about this. And there are people that are very successful in this area. So how can I try and avoid some of the mistakes that a lot of business owners make? And there's those stats of, how many businesses fail in the first 3 or 5 years. And I was like, I don't want to be one of those. So let's actually learn from the people that have succeeded. So
it was interesting. I built my first website and I was so proud. It took me 20 hours and I was so excited this website got done. And this kid came up to me who was a website builder and he's like, Rick, you have a really amazing website. I said, awesome. I built it myself. He's like, well, how long did it take you? I said, it was like over 20 hours, but I did it myself. He said, Rick, how much is your hour worth? And I said, well, I charge $300 an hour to consult. He said, so basically what you're telling me is your website cost you $6,000. And I'm like, well, let me ask you, you build websites and you said mine was great. What would it have cost me had I hired you to build my website? He said, oh, I'd have probably built the same website for you for under $1,000. And I was like, it cost me $5,000 to build this website when I could have gone to a professional who would have done a better job than I would have, and I would have gotten all that time back. And that's when I put the value of my hour as a priority. Everything I look at, it's like, okay, if it's going to take me 2 hours to do it, that's $600, or I could pay someone $150 to do the same exact work. I'm now investing in the person and let them do their job. I don't have to do everything, and I shouldn't be prideful in losing $5,000. It's kind of how I looked at it after that was brought to my attention. So yeah, once everybody says time equals money, and I've heard that phrase and people share that phrase, and I'm like, no, time is actually greater than money because I can replace money, but I can't replace the time. So I think as soon as an artist, a creative, a business owner realizes that, like you said, focus on what you're good at, outsource the rest, your life will change tremendously.
Love that. So true. So, can you tell me now, Rick, a random fact about you that maybe not that many people in the music industry know?
I'm a single digit handicap in golf, which is a good thing.
Okay.
Which is a good thing.
Thank you for clarifying.
They all know about my sobriety. They all know that I've been sober 31 years. They all know that I've been happily married for over, coming up on 23 years. They know those things. But yeah, not a lot of people know is golf is my passion. Golf is my passion, and I got real good. And I got a hole in one a couple years ago. So that's the little interesting tidbit.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I've actually recently moved from Melbourne to the Gold Coast in Australia, and we're just surrounded by golf courses everywhere. So I feel like,
Yes.
I feel like I just need to take on a new hobby there. So I don't know, maybe
It's
I'll
time
give it a
consuming
crack.
and it's expensive, but I love getting out in the morning. I golf a lot at like 7:30 in the morning. So I'll be done by 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then I start my day. So my day will start with fresh air. My day will not be inside looking out the window wishing I was there. I've already been there. So I restructured my own personal business that way a few years ago. Because I work online, because I work with artists all over the world, I can schedule things out throughout the day. So I schedule my time first and everyone else second. And a lot of times we wake up in the morning, we check socials, we check email. Well, now I'm on your agenda. If I go to my email, you're sending me something because you need something from me. So I don't even look at my email till after I've already given to myself first. So I take care of me first thing in the day, make me the priority, and then I make everyone else the priority after that.
Yes. Oh, there's a lot of power, I think, in scheduling your time that way and putting yourself first. And it's great that you have the ability to do that. And I think a lot of us could prioritize our time a little bit differently to get a similar outcome. So, jumping into our topic today, which is around pros and cons of record deals. So, to start with, can you tell me at a high level, when someone says, I've signed a record deal, what does that actually mean?
Well, it means that they have committed to provide services to a record company, and in return, the record company is going to want to be compensated for what it is that they put in to you. So it basically means, I always tell artists this: if you go to a record company seeking a deal and you sign that agreement, you are now an employee of the record company. If the record company comes to you because they see you have a buzz and they see you having something going on, you are now a partner in this relationship, and you make more money and you keep more ownership, and you have the ability to negotiate much better at that point. Everything a record company can do for you, there's a cost associated with that, and they are going to make sure that they write the best deal for them. The bank wants to make sure that they get paid back. They want to own your masters. They want to own, the 360 deals came out. They want to participate in as many areas of your career as they can in order to recoup that investment back. When you come to them with something going on, you can maintain ownership of your masters. That's a real big thing right now. Taylor kind of made that point a couple years ago. Prince made that point a few years ago. Many artists today, and this is something that as an independent artist, you really need to look at things like a detective. So why are all of the superstars counting down the days till they can get out of their record deal in order to become independent? So the major label artists who are locked into contracts are now wanting to be more like you, the independent artists, because they want that freedom. They want that ability to make more money from their art. Because in the meantime, if the label's putting up the money, they're always going to negotiate to what's best for them. It's not like they're trying to screw artists. It's not like they're trying to take advantage. You came to them because you were incapable of doing it yourself. Now, most artists aren't incapable of doing it themselves. They just don't know how. And that's where I structured my whole business model to say, look, you are your first label, you are your first publishing company, you are your first manager. Now let me equip you with the skills needed to provide those services to yourself, or what you should look for to outsource those services without having to give away your masters, give away a part of your publishing, give away the things that you have put so much value on. If you sign a deal, you're giving that away. If you maintain it, then you can distribute little pieces here and there where you feel it necessary. So a record deal is the right thing for the right artist, but at the right time. I always tell artists, if you think you need a record deal in order to be successful, do not sign a record deal, because you're done at that point. You should never feel that you need someone else to validate you, to put a worth on yourself. You need to validate yourself. You need to put a value and a worth on yourself, because there are so many independent artists having massive success today and maintaining control and ownership and the decision-making process in their own career and not giving it to someone else.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of things to think about there. And one thing that you mentioned around labels looking for something in artists to take them on as a partner, you mentioned to have a buzz. What specific things would you say that labels are looking for in artists to sign them?
There's no shortage of talent. The internet has shown us that. There's no shortage of pretty people that can sing, skinny people that can sing, fat people that can sing, ugly people that can sing. There's no shortage of talent. What they're looking for is to say, what have you already done for yourself? They want you to start the fire. They will throw gasoline on your fire, but they want something already happening. We have the ability to create our own buzz, whether it be through a TikTok video, whether it be from massive streams already from a song that you've released. You don't need a label for distribution anymore. There was a time when you did. Now you have your own distribution through CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, United Masters, you name it. There's a lot of distribution companies that are out there. You don't need a label for PR and marketing anymore. You have social media platforms to be able to do that for you. You can hire someone to write your own bio. You don't have to give up a percentage of yourself in order to get these things. What I like to tell people is that labels today are not equipped to build your fan base. So if you don't have a fan base, if you don't have something going on, the label is not going to bring you into their world, because that's work that they know you could be doing on your own. They're looking for artists that are smart at business. They're looking for artists that aren't needy. They're looking for artists that can bring something of value that's already happening to the table. Basically, they are no longer in the business startup mode. They are in the business acquisition mode. They are looking to invest in small businesses that are already working. Now, you don't have to have millions and millions of streams. That will help. But as long as they see that there's something going on that they didn't have to start, and they feel that they can help monetize it, which in return is going to help you monetize it, that's what at least the artist and label relationships that I'm familiar with, they're always looking to see what can we add to what the artist has already done, not what do we have to do to get this artist ready to take to market. They already want you in the marketplace, showing that people are showing up at your shows, streaming your music, engaging with your social content, buying merchandise, that you're already selling tickets. They're looking for all that stuff ahead of time.
All right, so lots of work for us to get done before we think about approaching a label. So what would you say are the pros of getting signed by a label?
You're utilizing their funds. You're utilizing their relationships. You're utilizing the fact that they've more than likely already had success with someone similar to you or someone like you. So those are the pros of working with a label. The more you show up with, the easier the negotiation's going to be in order for you to be able to recoup the investment, basically get to a point where you can then get complete full control and ownership back of your masters at a much sooner pace than had you just shown up with nothing going on, because they are going, let's say, for example, you sign a traditional record deal as an 85-15 split. That means for every dollar that comes in, the label gets 85 cents and you keep 15 cents. For every dollar that the label spends on you, you have to pay that back, but you're paying it back out of your 15 cents. You're not touching their 85 cents at all. That's why 98% of artists that get signed to record deals never fulfill the obligations of that first contract. And that's why they ultimately end up getting dropped, which is sad. But it's like, if you came to the table with something already going on, you're at a much better, track of paying back the investment that was made into you, because you are using someone else's resources, someone else's money.
Okay. And just to clarify there, because I think some people, maybe there's some confusion around this, but you're using their money as a loan. So it's not them giving you money.
Oh, no, you're in debt as soon as you sign with a label, because they probably gave you an advance to pay for your attorney. They may have given you an advance ahead of time for recording. You're in the hole for the recording cost. You're in the hole for the marketing cost. You're in the hole for the radio tour cost. It's like, by the time your song even gets released, for simple math, there could be $500,000 already invested in you that came from someone else. They want to get that money back. And if they happen to not look like you're going to make that money back, they will control the songs that you recorded with them. They will own them. You will get dropped from the label. You're not responsible for paying that loan back, but they hold your babies. They hold your songs. They hold your recordings, and they'll keep them. And you do not have the ability to then go to another label and re-record those songs, because the label has what's called a re-record in the contract. You are not able to re-record until 5 years after you leave the label. Usually that's how it's structured in the contract, or until recoupment. And then there's a certain number of years that they want to also continue to be able to make money off of those recordings. So they're taking the risk. You're able to say you're signed to a label. You're able to say, whoo, whatever the case may be. But once you get dropped, then another label may say, wow, that was a very good label. And if they couldn't make money with this artist, why would we want to make money with this artist? And then you have to go back and start from scratch with a very valuable lesson.
Yeah, for sure. So you've spoken about some of the cons there, which definitely sound like things that you should be taking a lot of consideration of before signing a contract, or even thinking about approaching a label. Is there anything else that you feel is good to know as far as the negative sides of being signed to a label?
Yeah, once again, I think if you are the type of person that likes your freedom, then the label is not the route for you to go, because you are not necessarily the priority at that label. So let's say that there's 10 pop record labels and they sign 10 artists each. So that means there's 100 artists in the world that are signed to these record companies. Now they can only effectively market 4 artists at a time. So that means 6 people that were good enough to get signed to the label are sitting and waiting, hoping, I hope they're not hoping, but they're hoping that one of those 4 doesn't succeed so that they get to take that shot. So that means 60 people who are signed to the label are not working, 40 are getting the shot. I would rather be out there doing my own thing, building my own buzz. So the label says, okay, this one isn't working. Of the 6 that we have sitting there waiting, all of them are at the beginning stages. They have no buzz, no anything. But there's this artist over here that just went viral on TikTok. There's this artist over here that's already got 1 million streams on their own. Why don't we go take a look at that artist and see what we can bring into the fold and build upon their momentum? So I would always want to be that person creating my own buzz and my own momentum to where they're coming to me instead of me coming to them saying, hey, I need your help. Well, they know you need their help. So they're going to structure a deal that's going to be very beneficial to them. If it doesn't work, they write it off as a loss in business, which you can do in business. And they hope that they make it back from Drake or The Weeknd or Beyonce or Taylor or whoever. Well, now that streaming has come into play, it used to be that was easy because when you're selling a $20 CD and there's $2 that go into that, there's $18 of profit. Well, when you're all splitting a percentage of a stream, which is a percentage of a penny, it takes much longer for them to get profitable. So the game has changed. And it doesn't mean that they don't think you're good. It doesn't mean that you're a fantastic artist. It just means you don't fit into their business model. So you should do everything you can to want to fit into their business model where you have a much better chance of not being one of those 98 out of 100 that doesn't succeed.
Okay. So what would you say, and you've touched on some of these things already, but what should you be doing as an artist before considering to look for a record deal?
You are your own record company. You should be doing everything you can in your power to market, promote your number one artist, which is you. And I'll ask artists sometimes, I said, let me ask you a question. You're the president of your record company. You're the only artist signed to your record company. Based on your actions today, on what you did to get your artist music out there, to start building relationships and fans, would you be getting a promotion as the head of your record label, or would you be getting fired as the head of your record label? And most of them are like, crap, I would have to fire myself. And I'm like, so if we're not willing to do it for ourselves, why would anybody else be willing to do it for you? If you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would anyone be willing to invest in you? Independent artists, for whatever reason, seem to want everything for free, but they want the fans to pay for their music. And I'm like, you're not paying to run your own business, but you're expecting the fans to pay you. So it can't work both ways. You know, if you treat it like a business, the reason Taylor Swift was successful was, one, she wrote amazing songs, but she didn't wait to get a radio hit. She didn't wait to start building those relationships. She went out and said, okay, here's this little place called MySpace. I'm able to upload music. I'm able to have conversations. I'm able to build relationships. I'm going to go ahead and start that now. I'm not going to wait to be told that it's your turn to go to radio. So by the time her song got to radio, her very first single, Tim McGraw, before her record, I mean, she released her record in October of 2006. In February of 2007, it had already sold 500,000 copies. She had a gold record before she had a top 20 single, which was unheard of. But the reason she did is because she didn't sit around and wait to become a priority. She made herself a priority every single day. And I ask you, are you making yourself a priority every day? Are you going out and building those relationships, or are you waiting for people to find you and your music? Just because you create it and it's great and you love it and it's the best thing you've ever done, you can't wait for people to find you. There is no shortage of artists trying to get attention. You better be fighting the fight to make sure that you're out there getting that attention for your own business. Don't wait for someone else to do it for you.
Well, lots of great truths there laid on us, Rick, which is good to keep in mind, and a great perspective there to really think about, you know, would you be getting promoted with the amount of effort that you're putting in or not? Love that analogy there. So how far would you say an artist can take their career if they remained an independent artist?
Depends on what their definition of far means. It depends on what their goals are. Yes, if you want to have worldwide domination, you probably need help from a label. If you want to make a comfortable living doing what you love, you do not need a label. If you want to tour, you do not need a label. If you want to win Grammys, you do not need a label. If you want to pay your bills, you do not need a label. And the labels want you to know that. They don't want a whole bunch of needy people showing up thinking they want you to succeed, because when you're succeeding, they can tap into what it is that you've already done. If you've already gotten yourself to $100,000 in yearly income, they know they can get you to $1 million. I always say, You need to get yourself from 0 to 70. They could take you from 70 to 100. So do everything that you can to get yourself in a position where you don't need them. I always tell artists this: if you can make $50,000 a year doing what you love, you are making more than most people in the world going to a job that they hate every single day. All you need to do is find 1,000 people in the world that would give you $50 a year. That's it. If you can't find 1,000 people, maybe you need 2,000 people to give you $20, $25 a year. Whatever your number is, you need to go out and find those fans. Now, keep in mind, you're trying to function in a dysfunctional industry. And what I mean by that is that your rewards are not in direct proportion to the work that you put in. In most businesses, you can throw money to solve problems. You can buy equipment. You can hire more people. That doesn't work in the music space. The other part that sucks is that no one has to pay to consume your product. They can hear your music for free. They can watch your videos for free. So ultimately, what they're going to invest in is the relationship that they feel they have with you. So if you're that artist that's just throwing stuff out there and you're not doing anything to build relationships, I wish you the best of luck. It's not the best music that wins. It's the best music that gets heard, and ultimately the relationship that gets built, because people are going to want to invest in you. An example, Taylor is going to release, at the recording of this, another version of one of her records. She's re-releasing another one of her records. 2 million people will buy a CD, and those 2 million people probably don't even own CD players. There is not a CD device on their computer. They're investing in her. They're investing in knowing what she puts into that, the extra songs she's going to add, the artwork, the secret messages in the lyrics. All this other stuff is what they're investing in. They're investing in their connection with her. They're not investing in the physical CD itself. They're going to get that as a byproduct of the relationship that they have. And does Taylor need their $20? No, but they're going to gladly give it. Does Taylor need their $200 a ticket on the low end? No, but they're going to gladly give it because they feel connected to her. They want to experience something with her. If we just want to experience music, I can do that on Spotify. I can have a premium membership for $17.99 US and listen to all the music that I want. But when I go buy a ticket, when I go buy a piece of merch, when I go buy a CD for a CD player that I don't have, I'm making that investment in the artist. And that's the thought process that I focus on with the people that come into my world is, where are the people hanging out that we can go build relationships, and where can we provide enough value where they feel that they want to do everything they can to support me? That's the thought process that I focus on, because that I can control. I can control showing up to work every day. I can control if I'm putting out music. I can control whether I'm responding to people in Instagram messages or doing TikTok lives or YouTube lives or Facebook or Instagram lives. I can control all these great resources and tools. Social media allows you to have a worldwide audience every single day. The internet allows you to build relationships with someone in Nashville is building a relationship with someone from the Gold Coast right now. We're not in the same room. You reached out to me on Instagram. It then turned into an email conversation, which now has turned into us physically being here together. It all started with a free resource that was available to us, but you had to use it. You had to make the first step. As much as I wish that I knew you and what it is that you did until you made yourself visible to me, I didn't know. So you did everything you could to make yourself visible to me. I need to do everything I can to make myself visible to someone else, because if you have a song that can impact someone's life, which all of you are selling emotions, that's what you're selling. If you have that song that can impact someone's life, it's your responsibility to find them. It's not their responsibility to find you.
I love that And what a beautiful way to bring this little segment to a close, Rick. But that is something that I think all artists need to realize and hear, that they do have something that can impact someone and bring some sort of joy or connection in their lives. And it's their responsibility to share it with these people and to do everything that they can to do that. So love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we're now just coming up to our speed quiz. Rick,
Uh-oh.
Are you ready for this?
Bring it on.
All right, you'll be great. All right, so quick 5 this or that question. So the first one, would you rather never be able to go out during the day or never be able to go out during the night?
Night.
Okay. Would you rather not be able to listen to music for a year or give up the internet for a year?
That's a tough one. Could I play music on the internet?
Yes, streaming is fine.
I'm giving up music. I'm keeping the internet.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good. All right. Number 3. Would you rather watch nothing but Christmas movies or nothing but horror movies?
Nothing but horror movies.
Oh, no. Okay. Would you rather be out of tune or half a beat behind?
Out of tune.
Okay. Last one. Would you rather be a talented songwriter who can't sing or a great singer who can't write songs?
I want to be the songwriter.
Okay, awesome. That was pretty speedy, Eric. That was good.
I try because I can go find people with great voices to relay my messages.
Yeah, oh, for sure, definitely. No, good stuff. So coming up to our last part of the podcast, which is our top tips section. Can you tell me, what is your one top career tip?
Get help.
Okay. Love it. We went through that earlier, and a great tip.
Yeah, seek out mentorship. Yes, seek out mentorship. Learn from those that have had success with what it is that you want to do. You know, it's like with the internet, you can reach anyone today. You can get in touch with anyone. Don't be afraid to reach out. The best advice that I gave someone is I said, if you want to stand out, reach out to someone and say, I respect what it is that you do. What would you charge me for an hour of your time? And a lot of times you'll get it for free because you at least showed them that you appreciate that what they have to offer has value.
Yes. Oh, that's a great tip there. Yeah, I think a lot of people just expect to get things for free as well. And that's a great way to not get a response, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, what is your one top self-care tip?
Sleep.
That's good. And what's your one top general life tip?
Always err on the side of being humble and gracious.
Yes, definitely. I think that's something that sometimes people can forget, and no one likes working with people that are difficult and think they are God's gift to the world.
Another thing too is see how you can provide value to every situation that you come into. You know, people want to hang out with people that they feel provide value, not the person that seems to always need something. We don't like those people in our life that just show up when they need something. So don't be that person.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So, Rick, how can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you?
Yeah. So first off, I would love to give everyone a free copy of my book, digital copy, if you just go to ricksfreebook.com. Or you can go to my website, rickbarker.com, and get a free copy of the book there. And I would love to connect with you on Instagram. You can find me at Rick Barker Music. I'm very active there. I respond back. I've got some automation features that when you reach out, if I don't get a hold of you immediately, I give you something of value. And then that's where I basically start my relationship journey with folks. I love the voice message part of Instagram. I love being able to send it in a voice. So yeah, reach out to me. Just follow me at Rick Barker Music. Let me know that you heard me on this podcast, and I'll connect you with some resources that can help you. And then if down the road you feel that learning from me makes sense for where you are in your career, I'll share with you ways to be able to do that. But I always say, let me earn the right to one day be able to make an offer. So let me earn it first.
I love that. And we'll put those links in the show notes for everyone to make the most of. So thank you so much, Rick. There's been so much value there and so much that I've learned from this session with you. So really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you again for being on this podcast.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
My biggest 3 takeaways from Rick's episode was firstly to look at the marketing efforts for your music as if you were the president of the label where you are the only artist, and according to those efforts, should you be promoted or should you be fired? And my second biggest takeaway was that roughly 98% of artists that sign with a label will not fulfill the needs to pay off their initial loan and therefore continue their career with that label. So if you get signed, it definitely doesn't mean that you will succeed due to that deal. And my last takeaway was to ask for help. Don't try to work out everything yourself, whether that means paying for mentoring or paying for courses or resources to reduce the time it takes for you to learn. That's it from us today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.